unity. Number 2 is a witness. Number 3, perfection and completion. Number 4, earth. Number 5, grace. 6, humanity. 7, spiritual perfection. 8, new beginning. 10, earthly government.
What happened to 9?
There is no 9 for some reason.
I have fruitfulness, divine.
Thank you. Because I don't have 11 either.
Oh, I have that. Disorder and incompleteness.
12, spiritual authority. And yeah, okay. And
I didn't go any further than that.
Yours doesn't go any further?
I didn't go any further.
Yeah. And that's fine, because the idea is 7 is spiritual perfection. A lot of people say it's complete. It's not. 10 is completion. And 3 is perfection and completion as well, but it's not spiritual completion and perfection. I remember back in the day when I learned my multiplication tables, and I learned them watching Schoolhouse Rock, because I'm a more visual learner than I am a studier in that respect. Studying the Bible has been very interesting for me, because my wife is a reader. I'm a watcher. My wife reads because she loves to read and she enjoys it. I read because I have to know stuff. And sometimes you can't know it if you don't read. So it's 2 different concepts of reading. But listening to Schoolhouse Rock, as a matter of fact, I always give new parents, when I have a chance, I used to give them the copies of the DVDs for Schoolhouse Rock that they can play for their kids as they're growing up, because you can learn a whole bunch of stuff, especially your pardon? You can learn your numbers, you can learn your grammar and all sorts of stuff with Schoolhouse Rock. And that's how I learned my numbers. And they had one of the things is 3 is a magic number. And if you think about it, faith, hope, charity, husband, wife, son, or daughter, those type of things. But anyway, I didn't want to forget that we were going to do that. So we have a situation now.
Pastor, I had a quick question.
Yes.
I just wanted to double check. So number 9 was fruitfulness, correct?
What I read.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. And then number 11 was what again?
Disorder. I have
disorder.
Disorder. Okay. Alrighty. That was all. Thank you.
Okay. Now they go to 100, and then of course there's a couple of other numbers that are mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, finality for 9 often signifies the end of a matter or final judgment. It's weird. It's like these people do this stuff deliberately. Just leave out something. Why, why you're talking about completion and stuff, and just leave out something. This is why I think AI is to be used with a grain of salt and understood. You have to understand what AI is all about. And I'm not one of those people that says, it's the devil's tool and blah, 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 and all this other kind of stuff. But it is certainly, the devil. The fact of the matter is that anything and everything can be the devil's tool, including Christian service.
Yes.
Okay. Including Christian service. That's
which is the worst one, probably.
It is the worst one, because it means that instead of being home with your spouse doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're sitting up in church someplace feeling all holy. And there's a reason why people don't like God. I know too many people whose parents have abused them and show up to church on Sunday morning and sing the loudest and pray the hardest. And those people have to deal with that. But that's getting us off topic. The word tempt is not what we think temptation or tempt means. The word tempt actually means tested in this situation. There's a difference between a temptation and a testing. How best to describe this? I was a TV repairman very early in life. I started repairing my first piece of electronic equipment at 11 years old. By the time I was 15, 16, I was working at TV repair shops, fixing almost everything that came my way. I was a dog catcher. That's a set that nobody else can fix. They'd give it to me and see if I could fix it. And about half the time I did, which was more than anybody else. But I also did service calls to people's homes. That's where you showed up with the boxes and the tube caddy, and you diagnosed the issues and you fixed the TV without bringing the TV out.
It was expensive to fix a TV back then.
Yes, it was. But it was worth it. Buying a new one was way more.
Yeah.
And you're looking at somebody that at gunpoint picked up a 25-inch console TV and carried it out of the apartment and down to my truck, because the boss had ripped this guy off and this guy was just BS'd. So when I showed up, he stuck the gun out and pointed at me and said, "Come on in and, fix this thing." And I immediately said, "This thing cannot be fixed here." So I just picked the whole thing up and carried it down the steps to the truck by myself. And why that's significant is because back then the TVs were in consoles. They were in wooden boxes.
Yeah, it was furniture.
It was furniture, exactly. And it's amazing the things you can do with adrenaline.
That was smart, though, to say that it couldn't be fixed there,
Oh yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been leaving with that TV.
And actually, I'm actually the one that fixed it when I got back to the shop. It did have the most unusual problem. Nobody, it's different. I can explain it, but nobody will understand it. There's a device called a diode that passes current in one direction, and and some of the diodes are made literally out of cat whisker.
Cat's whiskers?
Well, that's what we called it. It was a piece of, and it probably was. It was just a piece of fabric encased in a airtight compartment and in such a configuration that it only passes current in one direction. The diode itself was intermittent. I found it by shutting all the lights off in the dark and then hitting the chassis, because you'd hit the chassis, it would work. You'd hit it again, it wouldn't work. And I saw, in the dark, I saw the flash. And when I saw the flash, I was able to trace it down, and it was that. So it really was a weird problem. But I digress. One of the calls I got was to a cat house. NJW, do you know what a cat house is?
I can't say I've heard of the term, but I feel like I might have an idea.
Yes, you do have an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I was greeted at the door in a scantily clad woman who had forgotten to tie her robe. And
convenient.
Yes, how convenient. And the TV was in their parlor where their guests would sit, and what, sports would be on constantly, and the drinks would be flowing, and business would be being transacted in different parts of the house. So the TV was necessary.
The waiting room.
Pardon?
The waiting room.
Absolutely, the waiting room. And so I go in, and the wonders to the eyes did not stop at the door. But I stayed focused. I got the set working, and I was offered, shall we say, a different form of payment than cash.
Oh my.
Yeah, than cash money.
I hope you ran quickly.
I didn't run. I'm not David. I packed up my tools and said, cash or check would be fine. Thank you. So when I get back to the shop, the guys are laughing their faces off as if I'm the only one that doesn't know the joke, because I didn't. And they'd already gotten a call saying, we tried, but
we had to pay the guy.
We had to pay the guy, yes.
Oh,
and the boss, funny. The boss told me that this was I'd been working for him for about a month before this happened. He explained to me that this was actually a test. There really wasn't anything seriously wrong with the TV.
Interesting.
But
he wanted to know.
He wanted,
or she,
yeah. I'm trying to just get so he had you go to Cat House to fix a TV that didn't even need to be fixed, to pretty much determine your loyalty towards his business?
More than my loyalty to his business, the type of character that I have.
How weak are you?
Really, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
What I'm drawn to, or what I like, and what I don't like. And I passed the test.
You made the right choice. Yeah.
I made the right choice, because I was there to do a job, and the job was to fix the TV, and fixing the TV required money. The money, it wasn't that great. It was like, I want to say it was $50 to $100, whatever. The service calls back then, that's about what they cost anyway. And I just did not want to go back and tell him a bunch of lies about I couldn't fix it, blah, 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 whatever. I didn't want to do that. I didn't think about it. I just, I'm here, I'll take my money in cash. And no, I never did go back to that place because I didn't need to, but it was interesting. So yeah, he did it.
You told us the story because for a reason, I'm sure.
Well, the reason is it, when it comes to being tested, and tempted.
Mm,
In that scenario, I was ultimately being tested, and the test was the temptation.
right.
Does everybody get that?
I get that.
Yep.
So when the Bible, we have to be careful because the scriptures is very clear that God does not tempt us,
That's right.
but we're constantly being tested.
When I read that the first time,
Uh-huh.
I said that word stood out to me too, because it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I think there should be another word for that because God doesn't tempt us. He
exactly.
doesn't have to tempt us.
Right.
Yeah.
We tempt ourselves.
Mm,
That whole scene was about me. It wasn't about the TV.
hmm
There for a month, I demonstrated the fact that, yeah, I could fix stuff. But he wanted to know what was going on with me as a person. What
And how old were you at that point?
I want to say 16,
And the
17.
girls probably love seeing a young man come in there
Oh,
because that's fun for them. That's like a little challenge. Let's,
good.
yeah, let's make over this young man and see what he's made of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And quiet as it's kept, they prefer young men because young men are fast. This is straight out of the donkey's mouth.
They make more money that way.
They make way more money in the time frame. Young men are quick. So
And some older too.
yeah, no, the point being is that I learned
Mm,
you should be endeavoring to learn in every situation you find yourself. You should come out of it with some bit of knowledge that you did not have.
mm,
And I, as a person, like to know what other people don't think I should know or need to know.
right.
I don't know how many pastors would ever tell that story, but I'm telling it for a reason because in this case, the word tempted and the word which really means tested, and I want us to understand that we are often tested, and the testing is done through a temptation. So
Mhm.
not every temptation is a test. Be clear about that. Not every temptation is a test. And not every test is going to involve temptation.
And what's a temptation for one may not be for another.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's where they get the answer, I guess, to the test. Are you weak in this area? Maybe they will be in another area. Another
If
way to know somebody's honest is to drop a $5 bill, you know, supposedly unintentionally, and see if they grab that little five. It's easy for $5. You'll find out if somebody's an honest person.
it was actually 50 for me.
Oh,
I was
well.
hanging, I was actually hanging out at a motorcycle club, uh, a Caucasian motorcycle club, just to make life interesting.
Mhm.
For some reason, they allowed me to be around. And I remember being in the garage one day and just showed up because it was a place to hang for a few minutes. And there was a $50 bill on the drive on the floor and nobody around. I picked it up and I went and found one of the brothers and I said, I was scared actually. I said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but look, I found this on the floor. I hope you'll get it back to the person that, it belonged to. Yeah.
Mm.
And the guy, he smiled and he said, that was a test.
Mm-hmm.
You were not going to make it out of the drive. You wouldn't have made it out of the shop alive.
Wow.
and I rode my bike there. He said, you would not have gotten to your bike had you tried to ride off with that.
Mm.
So it was strictly money at that point.
Yeah.
And later in life, it was other things, the flesh. And there will always be testing. And as you get older, the testing gets more sophisticated.
Right. More detailed.
Somebody will challenge you, especially in the Word of God. Somebody will challenge you if you know something, strictly to prove you wrong or to see how smart you think you are. Brother Bailey can tell you in a heartbeat. I challenge him all the time.
I
But
noticed that.
Yeah, I challenge him all the
I
time.
think that's all right, though.
Well, it's not because I want to show him how smart I am, because I'm not. I challenge him because he endeavors to be in a position where people will be coming to him seeking answers.
And it is important that he know
It's
those
important that
answers.
he knows the answers.
Yeah.
Okay, and my light just died.
Oh, I see little reflections of your glasses.
The light that I have on in the back.
Oh my goodness.
Pastor turning into a ghost on us.
Yeah. Go.
Oh my. Guess when you don't think he's paying attention.
Hang on, let me go use it.
Oh, wow.
Combination.
Wow. Where's your little flashlight that doesn't work? Oh, man. Oh.
I love my God. He's always on my side.
Oh.
Oh, let's see, did it come back on?
Oh, come out from the darkness.
Yes, and come into his marvelous light.
Are you just on a temporary light there? Or?
No, this particular light thing, it's an LED setup. It goes from white light to yellow light. And what I've noticed is that if it's on too much, the transformer heats up and it shuts down.
Oh.
It was one of those Japanese made things or Chinese made things that looks cool when it works, but in order to get it to work, and like right now, let's see if it'll turn back on. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to change it to
If it could also be where it's connected to, I will say, because especially with those like LEDs that are manufactured in like China, if not Japan, like what was I gonna say? The outlet that or receptacle as we call it, that you might have might not be able to take enough power to actually keep the LED like at a consistent rate to the point where that's why the white side of the LED will go out, but the yellow side will stay on.
okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. So
I personally can't stand them. I don't know how you do it, Pastor.
I don't know how I do a lot of stuff. It just gets done.
I have to leave kind of at 9:15 today.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if we'll be done by then or not.
We'll be done by then. Oh yeah. Okay. So we have a half hour. So let's get to it. So we have a situation, of course, where we needed to clarify that particular thing, because tempting and testing and that whole bit, the enemy uses words better than anybody. And if we don't know the truth behind a definition, then we can be caught up, and it can detract us from the message. So Isaac knows that this is not the first time he's seen his father sacrifice anything, obviously. He says, we've got the fire. Now, keep in mind, where they were going to prepare the sacrifice, there was no fire. You have to take these things with you. And taking fire is meaning just that. It's like the Olympic torch. You have to carry the torch to the location where you get, once you get there, then you'll prepare the altar. And the altar is, after the beast has been killed, it's cooked. And some of it is burnt just to ashes as a sacrifice, and then the cook and the what's remaining could actually be eaten.
Mhm.
So Isaac is like, look, we've got the wood, because Isaac was not alone. The pictures that have Isaac and Abraham going up to the mountain by themselves are inaccurate, because they had to carry wood. They had to carry, somebody had to, I guarantee you, somebody was in charge of the fire. His job was to make sure that fire did not go out for the trip, whatever the trip, however the trip was, however long it was. His job was to make sure the fire doesn't go out. So Isaac's like, we got the wood, we got the fire. Abraham did not go anywhere without a knife. So where's the altar? Where's the sacrifice? Now, the thing that comes to mind is the word, another word to key on is only. We know that Abraham has two sons. He has Isaac and he has Ishmael, the son of Hagar. But the first son, and this is where we get the term illegitimate. The first son is not the son that God recognizes. God only recognizes Isaac as Abraham's son. Why? Why? Anybody? Michael, this is a softball to you.
Because he's the legitimate one.
Explain.
He's the one that God really wanted to come through Sarah.
There you go.
Hagar.
That's the answer. He is the product of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham has other sons. He's going to have other sons and other daughters. But Ishmael, is it Ishmael? No, it's
Ishmael.
it is Ishmael. Okay. But he's going to have other sons because Abraham is going to have another wife. He'll have 3 wives by the time this is all over. But Isaac is the son of promise. So that's why he is considered the only son. He's the son of promise. God, when God promised Isaac, when God promised Abraham that he would have a son, we know what happened with Ishmael. We know all the situations around it. We know that God is going to bless Ishmael. He's going to have a nation based on him. But he's not the chosen one. He's not the legitimate heir to the throne in God's eyes. So this is a matter between God and Abraham and Sarah. This has got nothing to do with anybody else. The fact that we have children from different mommies and daddies does not give us the right to call any of them illegitimate, because they're not under the promise of God, unless God has appeared to the man and the woman and said, you're going to have a son or a daughter, and they do what Abraham did. You can't call any child illegitimate. You can call the parents irresponsible or any number of things, but the children are a blessing. Does everybody understand that? Any questions on that?
I was actually going to ask if you could repeat that one last time. Just
Okay,
had it.
so when it comes to legitimacy and illegitimacy, the God called Isaac the legitimate son because he is the result of the promise that he made to Abraham and Sarah in their youth or in their younger days, that they would have a child, and that child would be the proof of God's promise. Isaac is that child. Ishmael is the child of Abraham and Hagar when Sarah, at that time, Sarai, tried to help God. So when we try to help God, that which we produce in God's eyes is illegitimate because it's not what God would have for us the way that God would have it. Legitimate and illegitimate is basically saying, like counterfeit money. You know, I give you a 20 that's not real. You'll give me $20 worth of goods and services. And look, I get away because you're stuck with something that has no value. In God's eyes, Ishmael did not have the value because he was not of Sarah, he was of Hagar. He was not the chosen one because he did not come through the chosen line. Abraham and Sarah was the chosen line. So, but when it comes to, yep, when it comes to what's legitimate, yes, we understand. When it comes to Isaac being the legitimate son in God's eyes, yes, he is. But what I'm saying is that in today's world, we cannot call any child illegitimate unless we are aware of a promise made to the mother and the father, and either one of them steps out of the relationship to produce a child. Other than that, it's just a baby. And we need
I get what you're saying now. I completely get it now.
okay.
What is it? What I did want to ask was, so I'm assuming that promise you like that you're referring to in this context for like just a husband and a wife would be marriage, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have gone out, one of them or the other has gone outside of the marriage. But that doesn't change the legitimacy or illegitimacy of the child in God's eyes,
Because every child is a blessing.
because every child is a blessing.
I get it.
Okay. So we can't say, now, there's obviously going to be hurt feelings. There's obviously going to be confusion and problems, and soap operas and life stories are all written about the child that from this person and that person. That's going to be a mess, basically. It'd probably be a holy mess, but that does not delegitimize the beauty and the wonder of a baby, of a child. Yes, Carol?
No, I'm just taking that in. Thank you.
Okay.
I had to step away, so I might
Yeah,
have
we know.
something.
So we can't presume to be God in passing judgment on something that he reserves for himself. I can tell you that what you did to me was wrong. I cannot tell you that you're cursed. I don't have the power to curse anybody. I don't have a power to damn anybody. I can tell you to go to hell, but I don't have the power to send you to hell.
Thank God.
God says you're welcome. So we have got to stop acting in the stead of God, like we know all the answers, like we are the final judge on all these situations. We're not.
Mm.
We're not. All right. So now they get to the offering. And the angel, Isaac, is laid out. And Abraham has told his son, a lamb, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. God will provide himself. And this is the thing that we have got to get into our spirit when it comes to any of these type of lessons. God is the arbiter. God is the final judge. God is the one who knows everything, whether he tells us or not. And this is where I have the issue with the people who are predestinations or 5-point Calvinists, where they say, my salvation was predetermined because God said, from your mother's womb, I knew you. I know the number of it. I know all of this. The key is I don't tell you or I don't make you. I show you this or that, and you choose. I know what you're going to choose, but I don't tell you what to choose.
Mm-hmm.
If you go left, you're going to end up here. If you go right, you're going to end up there. I already know that. When I leave the house, if I come out of my driveway and turn left, I'm going to end up in a field, a dead end, because I live on a dead end street. I already know that. And the only way to get off that street is to abandon my vehicle and go through the hole that was cut in the fence and in the shrubs and everything that everybody goes through. But I can't drive through it unless I want to tear my truck up.
Which way do you go out and come to the dead end, left or right?
Left.
Oh, okay. I'm a dead end on the right.
Okay. So then you understand exactly what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and the choices are always there because there are people that there are issues and people that I deal with who are on the left. There are two different companies down there that I go hang out at, and we're friends and we talk in the whole bit. Well, we talk. I don't know if we're friends or not. We're good acquaintances. I want to leave the street. I have to go to the right, and when I get to the end of the street, I can go left or right. And I'm out in the world now. So that is, if you look at it that way, it's the easiest way to understand predestination and that whole bit. God provided Isaac to Abraham. He gave Abraham the greatest gift, the thing that Abraham so wanted, Sarah wanted. That is the ultimate thing they could have. And then God said, give him back to me.
Mm-hmm.
All of us here have a level of intelligence. We reason, we rationalize, we work through, we think, we problem solve. We have some level of ability that God has given us that has served us well. And God ultimately wants to know, are you using it for me or are you using it for yourself?
Mm.
I use pop culture a lot, as you all know. In The Wizard of Oz, what was the first thing they asked Dorothy? When she gets to the land of Oz, what's the first thing they ask her? Who knows? Michael, do you know? Huh?
I don't know, but I'm thinking, I think she said she wanted to go home.
Yes, but that was after.
Oh, okay.
They ask her a question. The munchkins gather around and they ask her a question.
Do you want a lollipop?
No.
That might be Willy Wonka, but I can't say I know either. I didn't
Yeah,
really
I don't
watch
think I can
Wizard of
think.
Oz like that.
It's such a good movie, though. I love that movie.
Great movie. I highly recommend it. Jerome, you want to? Oh, he's driving. He's working
He's
right now.
working.
He can't talk. They ask her, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?"
To Dorothy?
Yes.
Oh. Is that because she was a woman? Why did they ask her that?
She came out of a house that fell on the sister. But I don't want to get sidetracked. Look it up. They ask her, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?"
But okay, all right. Well,
And that's the key to this. They knew that there was something magical about her. She showed up. Her house fell on the bad witch. So they knew something was up, but they didn't know what. So the question that we're all asking each other, we ask each other all the time in high school or in college or whatever. Everybody you meet, you want to know one thing about them. Are they good for you or bad for you?
mm,
As a woman, Carol, you have a great sense as to who you can trust and how far and where. Yes?
yes, I would say for the
You
most
have
part.
to. You're a
Yeah.
female.
For the most part, yes, I would
Yeah,
say.
you have to. Now, guys, we have the same idea, but we do it differently. You know, if I walk into a situation where I remember sitting around a table where I realized that I was the weakest one at the table, not because I wasn't the smartest, not because I didn't understand this, that, and the other, not even because at that time I had just received my first black belt. I said first for a
Oh,
reason. I have many. I have more than one anyway.
hmm.
And I was the weakest one at the table. And I realized that because everybody else at that table was malicious, nefarious, and strapped. Imagine sitting at Legal Seafoods at a table where everybody's got a weapon except you.
Hmm.
So, what happens when God says that Isaac is legitimate? It's because he is the fulfillment of the promise. All right. The last part of this. He's about to kill Isaac. Actually, second to the last part. He's about to kill Isaac. He raises his hand and God stops him. And what does God say? Now I know you value me more than you. You are going to sacrifice to me the most precious thing because let's face it, people, you can't have a marriage if you're not willing to sacrifice all of yourself to your mate. Anything less is not a marriage, it's a business arrangement. Now, you don't have to agree with me on that. You don't want to.
But I
But
want
I'll say amen to that.
to.
Carol,
I just feel well. God knew that knew the answer already, but I think it was important that Abraham know that he was willing to sacrifice the greatest thing.
exactly.
Yeah, because God already knew.
Yeah. I picked a woman that I know will fight for me
Hmm.
because she has. I picked a woman that will tell me when I'm wrong strongly.
And she does.
And she has and does and will again.
Yeah, that's good.
I picked a woman that challenges me, not because she's all that, but because she is a strong individual.
And it's interesting. You are up for the challenge. Some people are threatened by the challenge, so they don't see the value often of a woman challenging you. They're like completely, they feel attacked. They feel maybe inadequate actually to stand up to the challenge. They don't want to know the answer. So
they
that's a
they
good combination. That's why you guys have been together all these decades.
it is part of it. It is certainly part of it, but yeah, they feel the way they feel. Um, my strength is not based on my physical abilities. God knows I don't have them anymore. Do I have them when I need them? Yes. But do I wear them on my shoulders? No, because I'm older now. But everything I have has to be dedicated to God. Whether I like it or not, if I want to keep it, if I want to use it, if I want to understand it, it has to be dedicated to God. Everything internally, everything externally. And is it all dedicated to God? I'd love to sit here and tell you in some great pious thing that it is. Everything I have is yours, Lord. No, truthfully, no.
None of us have that capacity.
No. And if we say we do, we're lying.
That's right. So then, yeah, you lose
Yeah,
credibility right there.
you lose credibility. Abraham gained credibility with himself
Mm,
because God already knew.
right.
Because he says, now I know that you value me more than yourself. Abraham could have killed Isaac because he knew that God was going to restore him. He didn't know that. People tell me, well, Jesus went to the cross knowing that God would raise him back up. So what are you trying to say? That he didn't, that it lessens his sacrifice? When's the last time you sacrificed something?
And as a man, and he went to the cross as a human, as a man,
Mm-hmm.
which was just as painful for anybody like us, except he did it perfectly and did it willingly. And to say that didn't hurt like heck. I mean,
Yeah,
he took abuse on so many levels,
every level possible.
rejection, I mean, and he was perfect. So it just goes to show you, when we see people that seem so perfect, you know, there isn't a human on this earth that hasn't been suffering in some form or fashion. We don't always wear it on the outside.
You
You
show
might.
me you're absolute. You show me the most perfect person out there. I'll show you somebody that's tired of putting up with their nonsense.
Mm.
It just is the truth.
But I mean, I'm just saying, we only see the outside of people, we only, and somebody, you might look at somebody, I don't know, I'm just going to give you an example. A beautiful woman, you might say, oh, she's probably, born with that silver spoon in her mouth or whatever you want to call it. She doesn't have any problems, but every person on has suffered with hurt, rejection, with abuse, I mean, even babies, let's face it, so many babies are being abused and nobody would know it, because, it just, you don't know. And, but anyway, it's true. Jesus he was the only one that could do what he did. And,
He was the only one that can do what he did in the perfection that he did it.
yeah,
The thief on the cross that is saved didn't, oh, the only thing that was saved was that thief.
Mm.
Him going through he still had to die. He still was done. He's not coming back. He's done. But he's also not in perdition. He's not in fire. He's not burning up.
Right. And
Not
also,
in,
what set him apart, of course, was the fact that he said, remember me. He knew he deserved to be there, and it was clear to him too that Jesus hadn't done anything wrong and didn't deserve to be there, and
exactly.
yeah,
And
that's
this,
a
and there
beautiful
are people in jail
thing.
today that don't deserve to be there,
Mm,
except that this is where they are. And some of them are bitter and will never, ever accept God because he put them there for whatever reason. And he knows that they're innocent and they know they're innocent. And even most likely, the prosecutors know they're innocent.
mm,
That's sad. That's sad when the prosecutors know you are
no,
innocent. That's like Pontius Pilate washing their hands.
Exactly.
I mean, they know you're innocent and they sent you to jail. How can you have a mind, um, a mind, holding up the system? And that's what's sad about this. And a lot of the prosecutors know certain people are innocent, but they still want to lock them up so they can build their record up and still win a case and sending somebody away that's innocent, knowing
Yeah.
100%. So they're like Pontius Pilate, washing their hands, and their hands have guilt on them, and they too will have to answer.
that's
That's
right.
the key.
That's
That's
so
the key.
true.
They will have
And
to
they
answer.
too, they're going to have to answer, sending innocent people to jail.
Yeah.
They need to repent.
Well, you're absolutely right. And the hard part of that is we would look at that system and say there is no justice in the system.
Mm,
Well, how many times have we heard don't hate the game, don't hate the player, hate the game?
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
And that's the key. In the justice system, the only justice is, in the halls of justice, the only justice is in the halls.
Uh-huh.
I tell people all the time when I was tournamenting, fighting in martial art tournaments, and when I was teaching, I would tell my students, don't leave it up to the judge. Make it plain, make your point clean, make your strike clean, make it visible. Make sure everybody and his brother could see the fact that you got the strike first. If you leave it up to the judge, you've already lost.
I know. I can't help but think of God's laws are perfect. His precepts are perfect. We can doubt man's setup because man set it up, but God's is perfect. And there are a lot of innocent people in prison. There are a lot of injustice in the system that we have in this country, and I mean, it gets me so. There's so many things that if you want to concentrate on wrong, like people that get kidnapped, children that are abused, men that go to prison, even though they're innocent, and it's obvious. It's like everybody turns a blind eye to the truth and they still end up in prison anyway. Thank God for DNA. Thank God for the truth that comes out now and people are getting set free. And I love
Yeah.
the men that come out of prison, even though they might have done decades wrongfully. If they can come out and not be bitter, because there is so much value in injustice at times. There's value in suffering. There's so much value in the things. If with the right attitude, they come out and they say, all right, I have maybe 20 more years to live. Am I going to spend those 20 years bitter and angry and just totally, defeated in a sense already? Or am I going to just come out and, ask God to give me, a fresh look at things so I can enjoy the rest of my life? So be whatever it is, 20 years, 5 years, could be 10, 2 days. But the attitude in your life. And when God can restore that freshness, renewing your mind, and give yourself the chance of success for the rest of your life. I think oftentimes they get money, but that's nothing compared to the life that you lost in the behind walls. I mean, it's horrible.
Having been at numerous transitions, when people transition, I've been to a lot more than I've even been to informal transitions, meaning that somebody was shot to death right in front of me. It's what I call an informal transition. I can tell you that your money doesn't mean jack swing in that situation. Nobody who I ever talked to who was on their transition bed ever said to me, I wish I'd made another $10, another $1, another $5. I wish I had, amassed a bigger fortune. Every conversation I've ever had with anybody in that scenario had to do with relationship. I wish that I had said, I love you to my son or my daughter. I wish that I had treated my wife better. I wish I could go back and make amends for the things I've done. Because that's ultimately what's important. Abraham putting his son on the altar is an absolute test of his faith in God. It is not a trick question. He's not a vicious, cruel person because he's willing to sacrifice his son. And I've heard all the arguments about how dare a God require a man to give his son up? How dare he? Okay.
Well, it's just what he did, though.
It's exactly what the enemy just want. The enemies of God don't care anything about God, and they don't like you either. So you have to understand that this is not just what we see, what we feel. This is transitory. Ultimately, we want to do good and right while we're here. But we also have to understand that there's a there. And the there is heaven or hell. And Abraham made numerous mistakes in his life. Abraham is classically called a liar because we know that when the chips are down, he lies. He's done it once, he's done it twice. But in this scenario, he spoke the absolute God's honest truth when he said God will provide for himself a sacrifice. And guess what, people? We are that sacrifice. We are the sacrifice that is to be placed on the altar. If we're going to have any validity in this life, in this calling, we are the sacrifice.
I agree with you, Pastor. So it came up in a little group on Wednesday. I meet the same ladies each week. And I had invited them to, it's a ladies group that I will be going to later today. And I had invited all of them to come. They come, I have a Muslim friend, I have Jewish friends, people that are, just of different beliefs. And I asked them to come. And I don't know how we got onto the subject, but I said, as soon as you tell somebody you're a Christian, there is a cost to professing your faith in Christ, because a lot of people will just shun away from you. They won't, they're going to think you're going to try to, convert them or whatever. There is a price of believing in Jesus and letting people know about it. But in that, there is also a lot of protection. But we are a living sacrifice. And that's what I don't, when I like to add that living part because it's very critical. How can we be used if we're not alive? But I know a lot of people will say the seed has to die before it will, germinate into a plant. But we are that living sacrifice that, and hope, it's all but God that does that though, but the price is there when you, I put in my resume, it's not always been in there, but that I like to study the Bible, and people have said, oh, don't put that in there, um, who knows if someone's going to judge you on that. I don't really care, I mean, I'm going to put it in there if I feel led to do that. I've changed it a million times, but if someone's going to not hire me because I study the Bible, all right, well, maybe I don't need that job, but we are the living sacrifice. And as
And here's
we
the thing.
breath, as
Here's
we
the
have
thing.
breath,
Yeah, here's the thing. The seed has to die. The seed has to die.
Yeah.
Just what you said. In other words, the seed first has to be alive.
right.
A dead seed cannot bring anything forth
Mm.
unless it dies. And the symbolic nature of Isaac being on the altar is that Abraham is willing to kill his son, his pride, his possession, his number one thing,
Legitimate son.
legitimate son. Yeah, I think you were away for that explanation, but yes, for the cause of Christ, for God. So we're gonna close here. We've gone a little over, but I just want everybody to understand that the difference between legitimate and illegitimate is not based on man, it's based on God.
Mm.
The difference between tempted and tested is that testing always happens. Temptation is a part of that testing, but they're different. When you're taking a test about in school, you're not being tempted. You're being tried to see if you paid attention.
Right.
When you're taking a test in the cat house, you're being tempted. When you're sent to some place to do something, you're being tempted and tested as to what you're going to do when you're there. There's all type of testings, and the only temptation is what comes from us, yourself. You know what you can be tempted by. I don't want to know. Just like I'm not telling you what I'm tempted by. Believe me, I am, and I have, and the whole bit. And no, you can't figure it out based on what we've talked about. So don't try.
Mhm.
Oh, I know what it is. It's naked girls. Yeah, shut up. You've seen one, you've seen them both.
Your temptation is fixing TVs.
Yes. I may have taken a few minutes longer to fix that TV than I
just
could.
got in. Are we on today or no?
I just called the bank to see if the guy's going to do the transfer for me.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, David.
God bless you.
David. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh boy.
I missed that. Pastor, I'm going to say goodbye.
Well, you're gonna close us out in prayer.
It'll be quick then. All right. Father God, thank you so much for your word. Thank you for the loving sacrifice you gave your son, Lord, to us. And today I'm heading out to a beautiful function this morning, and I just pray many souls get saved, Lord, those that have not come to know you, Lord. I have 2 guests coming, and I pray, Lord, 2 friends that I would love to see them love you. You deserve all the love, Lord, and you deserve our hearts. You love us so much. You gave us everything. And Father, thank you for this word. Thank you for the pastor. Thank you for the teaching and the things that we will be thinking on today from your scripture, your perfect word, Lord, that is a lamp unto our feet. I pray this in the name of your Son. Until we meet again. Amen. Jesus.
Amen. All right. We'll see find yourself
Amen.
in some house of worship tomorrow. Find yourself somewhere. We'll see you at 11 Beach Street or 151 Hallett Street tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon.
12 o'clock, right? Tomorrow?
12 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Dorchester.
Bless everybody. Bye.
Peace.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
My fault. I was gonna say, okay, so going forward for future Zoom meetings, so we have like on Tuesday and Saturday, as far as I'm aware of, can we reuse the same link or is it a different link every single time?
Same link.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. That was all.
Yep.
Alrighty. You have a good day, Pastor.
Yep. And that's the key. I love it. God examines everybody's heart to make what was said. It's a very good comment. It's in the chat if you can see it. Where is it? There we go. God examining a believer's heart to refine their character. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that should be something we request and ask. Test me, try me, show me where I need your help. And be careful when you say that because he will. And if you're playing, he's not. That's another story for another time. Peace.